Good morning, friends. Today we will continue with the nutrition topic. Today is the second part of this nutrition. So, last class we discussed about the malnutrition. It can be classified as undernutrition and overnutrition. We have discussed about WHO classification of undernutrition. So, overnutrition is rampant today among the sedentary and moderate workers. So, we discussed about obesity. So, overnutrition is also called obesity. It is more common in the developed countries and it's becoming an epidemic in the middle class and upper class, nowadays even lower class, because they nowadays the ration system, the public distribution system made sure of nobody dies of lack of food. So everybody is eating more. So even the lower class are also becoming obese. You know that body mass index, waist hip ratio, and these are the parameters to measure the body size. And you know BMI is equal to weight in kilogram divided by height in meters square. So what is the normal BMI? It should be 18 to 25. If it is less than 18, we call it as underweight. If it is 18 to 25, we call it normal. Okay. If it is 25 to 1.3, okay, it is called overweight. For that you have to do exercise. For underweight people you have to increase the calories. For overweight people you have to prescribe exercise. If BMI is above 30, 30 to 35, it is called obesity. You have to do both diet and exercise. If it is 35 to 40, it's called moderately obese. For that you have to do diet, exercise, and as well as some drugs. And if it is more than 40, it is morbid obesity. That means the patient is going to have a lot of complications in his life. For that, along with the diet, exercise, and medicines, you have to do some gastric sleeve surgery and this bariatric surgeries, weight loss surgeries. So, what are the causes of obesity? You know, what are the causes of obesity? One is less work, and another is more food. And there is a genetic predisposition. For example, if your mother she is normal weight during her delivery, you may be a normal weight person throughout your life. But your mother, if she is obese and she got pregnant, the child is you, then you may become obese in the future. So there are some genes are there. And what is the pathophysiology of obesity? See, the hypertrophy of the adipose cells. The adipose cells keep on storing fat so that we will get obese. And what are the genetic factors? There are 3 or 4 hormones that maintains the energy balance. One is the leptin, very important hormone. This leptin is produced by the adipocytes once their cells are filled with fat. So after eating, when the cells are these adipocytes are filled with fat, they secrete this leptin hormone. This leptin hormone crosses the blood-brain barrier and it stimulates the satiety center. So what happens? We will stop eating so that we won't become obese. But many people, what happens? There is a mutation in this gene, or sometimes they have one thing called leptin resistance. We don't know what is the cause for leptin resistance. They say high triglyceride may be one of the reason of leptin resistance. Some say carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates are reason for leptin resistance. So what is this leptin resistance? So once you eat, adipocytes are filled with fat, leptin will be produced, but the leptin cannot enter into the blood-brain barrier. So your hunger is not satisfied, you will be keep on eating. So what is the other hormone? It's called ghrelin. It is produced by gastric fundus after eating. It also stimulates the satiety center. There is one more hormone called adiponectin that also regulates our hunger and satiety. What are the complications? Very well, you know. You can see the right-sided bottom figure here. So your obesity, it will lead to joint pain, osteoarthritis of knee, many bone problem you will get, and there will be insulin resistance will be there. So you will get hypertension and diabetes mellitus, leading to metabolic syndrome. Okay. So here insulin receptors, their sensitivity to insulin are decreased. So it will lead to metabolic syndrome and diabetes. There will be increased cardiovascular risk because In obesity, there will be dyslipidemia will be there, altered triglyceride, HDL, LDL, VLDL, ApoB will be there. It will lead to atherosclerosis. And another is your heart has to pump a lot of blood. If you are big, it has to pump, it has to work hard to supply blood to all these areas. So there will be hypertrophy of the heart. Heart failure will be occurring if obesity is there. And there will be hypertension. Because of hypertension also there will be cardiovascular risk, and there will be reduced lifespan overall. How do you manage obesity? It's a $1 trillion question, managing of obesity. There are so many gym diet centers today to manage this obesity. We are correct method of dieting and all. If you know that, you will become a great doctor in the future. So how do you manage obesity? Mainly, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to avoid snacking. That is the first and foremost thing. The next thing is you have to start some exercises like that. And third thing is you have to reduce the quantity of the calories. So increased physical activity, avoidance of junk food items like colas, refined carbohydrates, pizzas, bhaji, pakoda, juices, etc. And you have to obviously reduce the alcohol consumption. Diet, usually the standard American diet, that is what prescribed in your medical books. It says you have to reduce the saturated fat. But you can see nowadays keto, paleo, LCHF, low carb, Atkins diet, so many diets are there. They reduce the carbohydrate content to reduce weight. And they say increase in dietary fiber so that satiety level will increase, so we will take less amount of calories. Drugs, some of the drugs like orlistat, this is an endocannabinoid receptor antagonist that can also improve obesity, but I have tried in my clinic, it is not working that much. So how do you prescribe a diet? There are certain principles in prescribing a diet. So whenever somebody coming for a diet to you, you have to assess the following parameters. First, there are general principles and what is his calorie requirement, and approximate principles of what is the general composition of food, food exchange systems, mutual supplementation, prescribing a normal diet, and you have to divide it into 3 meals per day, and a special diet for diabetics. So first thing, what is the general principle? You have to take it to ideal body weight. So if he is a low underweight person, you have to increase the calories. If he is a overweight person, you have to decrease the calories. And you have to find out the protein requirement. And you have to take care of standard dynamic action, and what is the ratio between all the carbohydrate, protein and fat. First, ideal body weight, you have to bring him to the normal BMI, either increasing weight or decreasing weight, bring him to 18 to 25 BMI. Usually protein requirement is 0.8 gram per kilogram body weight, but up to 1 gram can be given. For children, 2 gram because they are growing children. Calorie requirements is based on his physical activity, age and sex. BMR usually 24 calories, and for a moderate activity person, extra 10 calories may be needed per kilogram body weight for physical activity. So you have to calculate the SDA. SDA for a balanced diet usually 10%. Ratio of carbohydrate, protein, fat is equal to 60% of carbohydrate, 20% of fat and 20% of proteins. So what is the calorie requirement? For a 60 kilogram man, the energy required is 24 calories per BMR, and remaining 6 or 8 calories for the physical activity. So for 60 into 30 equal to 1800 calories. Specific dynamic action is 10% in the mixed diet. So 180 calories, around 2000 calories per day. Approximate principles, that is something should be definitely there. Here most important in the diet is proteins. So protein required is 1 gram per kilogram body weight. So for a 60 kilogram man, 60 gram of protein should be given. So 60 gram of protein is equal to how many calories? Equal to into 4 equal to 240 calories. So remaining 1760 calories should be supplied by the diet by carbohydrates and fats. So fat, what is the requirement? Usually 20%, that is coming around 350 calories. 350 calories is almost 35 to 40 grams of fat. So protein 60 grams, fat 35 grams for a 60 kilogram old man. Remaining 1400 calories by carbohydrates comes around approximately 350 grams of carbohydrates. So what is the composition of this food? It should be contain cereals like rice, wheat, etc. Pulses like dal, green gram, black gram, bengal gram, vegetables, fruits, milk, and many eat meat, fish and egg also, and oils and sugar. Food exchange systems are there. What are the food exchange systems? For example, I like idli in the morning, but some may like chapati in the morning. So you have to alternate. Somebody like bread in the morning or cereals in the morning, that flakes, cornflakes in the morning. You have to adjust it. So one chapati or one big slice of bread or 3 tablespoons of rice may have 2 grams of protein plus 15 grams carbohydrate. That is equal to 70 calories. Pulses per 100 gram, 24 grams of protein will be there, carbohydrate 60 grams equal to 340 calories. What is this mutual supplementation? See, some cereals are deficient in a particular amino acid, and some pulses are deficient in particular amino acid. So when you combine the cereals and pulses, the deficient amino acid will be obtained from the other food. So this is called mutual supplementation. Limiting amino acid. The amino acid which is not absent in a protein is called a limiting amino acid. Uh, for example, you have pulses are deficient in methionine, cereals lack lysine. But when you take both, the mutual supplementation will be obtained. So combining pulses and cereals make complete proteins. The ratio of cereals and pulses must be 5:1. For example, if you are taking one plate of rice, you are taking one cup of sambar only or dal. So the ratio will be 5:1. So how do you prescribe a normal diet? For a 60 kilogram sedentary man, 2000 calories is required. Following components may be suggested. So cereals for a vegetarian 350 and non-vegetarian 350 grams. Pulses around 75 and 60 grams. Vegetable oil 40, here 25 ml. Milk 250 ml, here 150 ml. Green leafy vegetable both 200 grams. Sugar should be less than 25 grams. And fish meat for a non-vegetarian around 60 grams will be better. Okay. It satisfies the protein, carbohydrate, fats, calories, calcium and iron. You are also have to take care of the micronutrients like minerals, these vitamins, fat soluble vitamins, water soluble vitamins, electrolyte, salts, sodium, potassium. So your mother, when she makes morning 3 or 4 idlis with the sambar, lunch some rice or chapati with some gravy, and rasam sambar and the curd with the vegetable. Evening one coffee and a snack. Night 2 or 3 chapatis or dosa. It will contain almost all the protein, carbohydrate and fat needs. Usually this South Indian diet and North Indian diet, they have less amount of proteins. We won't get that 60 or 55 grams. You will get only around 25 to 30 grams. So addition of 1 or 2 eggs may increase your protein requirements, may satisfy your protein requirements. You have to make the above set food into 3 meals per day. And what is the diet for diabetics? See, diabetics, the main thing is their sugar should not increase suddenly after taking food. Some of my patients, they say when they take biscuits, 4 or 5 biscuits, any biscuit, their sugar will shoot up to 200, 250. Some say some millets like Kudaravali rice and this Karupu Kuruna rice and this Mapala Samba rice, they will not increase the sugar as much as regular rice and wheat. Why? How do you make a diet for diabetics? You have to give a low glycemic index diet. Okay, what is the low glycemic index diet? What is glycemic index? Which is the one item that increases sugar very much. That is nothing but glucose, because you are measuring blood glucose level. So plain glucose powder, it will increase your blood glucose very highly. So glycemic index is the glucose tolerance of a food stuff compared to that of a reference meal. So the reference meal here is glucose. Take 50 gram of glucose and mix it in water and give it to the patient. Let him drink it and check the sugar at 0, 1 hour, 2 hour and 3 hour. So for a normal person, the glucose will be elevated from 100 to 150 to 175, again to 100 after 3 hours. So this is a glucose tolerance test. So this is for a 50-gram glucose. So for example, you want to test 50 grams of chapati. So give him 50 grams of chapati or rice or bread or whatever things, and you find out how much sugar it is increasing in his blood. So this is called a reference meal. And test meal, see the curve is a little bit smaller, and it is not elevating the sugar as like as glucose. So what are the some of the high glycemic and low glycemic foods? You can see here bread is have a high glycemic index of 70 to 80. Polished rice, parboiled rice are a little bit lower. Milk and ice cream have very lower. Egg and non-vegetarian item have a glycemic index of 0. This is for diabetic people, these items will not elevate the blood sugar level. So glycemic index, how do you calculate the formula? So curve under the 50-gram test meal divided by curve under the reference meal. So sugar and glucose suddenly elevates blood glucose level. So for diabetic, you can give these 4 items below. Total parenteral nutrition. What do you mean by parenteral? Enteral means eating via mouth. Parenteral means other than mouth. So you can give IV solutions for post-op patients. Those who are undergoing abdominal surgery, those who are undergoing lung surgery, they should not eat post-op for 4 to 5 days. For them, you can give this total parenteral nutrition via IV injection. So it should contain glucose, protein, fat, multivitamins, trace elements, and electrolytes. They will be infused in a large blood vessels like superior vena cava, subclavian vein. And some of the complications also arise, like fluid overload, sodium retention, hypoglycemia can also arise. So this is the end of nutrition class. You can see this book here, Unique Series of Biochemistry. It is available in Amazon, and you can purchase that. It contains the solved university question paper for MBBS biochemistry exams. So it contains around 10 years of question paper with answers. You can read these books for exams, and even now also you can buy it and read. It will be very easier for you. So we will meet you in the next session. Okay, thank you.